The problem is we have a Mercedes with active body control, or ABC system, in this case a CL63, and we want to perform a maintenance and flush the system. And that sounds pretty easy, but in reality it is not. And let me tell you why this is not easy. If you have the test plan from Mercedes Benz describing the ABC system flush, affecting the 215, 216, 220, 221, 230 and other models that has the ABC or active body control suspension, they start out with telling you about the risk of getting fluid in your eyes. They're very, very essential to keep the system super clean. And then they go on down, and then they get to the point where they say detached return line from ABC expansion reservoir. And that is where it is almost impossible. This reservoir is absolutely buried in the car and very time consuming and super messy to remove. This is where the solution comes in. The solution is the all-German auto ABC Flush Tool. This tool is going to provide a very good service for your customer. By flushing and maintaining the system, it's going to save the shops and even car owners a lot of time and mess in the process of flushing the ABC system. All German Auto has developed an ABC flushing tool that makes it really, really easy. Let me show you how it's done and what you need to do the job. What you need is the flushing tool, approximately 10 quarts or liters of the Mercedes hydraulic fluid, a ABC filter which goes inside the reservoir. I'll show you the installation of that in a minute, and a container that can hold at least 10 quarts or 10 liters. I prefer to use a white bucket, get it at any hardware store, that is clean when you start out. That way you can see if you had any debris in the system. The recommended method is, if you have access to the Star Diagnostic systems, to go in under ABC body controls and go in under actuations, and then alternating actuation of circular motion, also called rodeo mode, to warm up the car until the temperature reaches 80 degrees Celsius temperature in the system. So having the car in rodeo mode like this activates the system, allows the fluid to flush all the way through and get warmed up. If you don't have a Star Diagnostic system and access to that, you can drive the car to get the temperature up in the system. It is not as effective, but it will heat it up. After the system is warmed up, shut off the car. On this particular model, there is a piece of the bracket right here that covers the filter cap, so it makes it a little bit tough to remove. So simply remove this bolt that holds the bracket and fluid container in place, and you can pull it to the side like this so you can gain access to the cap. You start by removing the filter insert with the large cap on top of the reservoir. You'll see that the filter insert is mounted on the bottom of the cap. It goes down in and connects onto the return line, and that's where the fluid comes back and into the filter. Connect the flushing tool to the line. To remove the line, push on the green ring and pull the fitting apart. Without pushing on the green ring, you cannot remove the line. Insert the flushing tool into the filter area and firmly push down to allow it to lock down the O-ring into the return line port. Now you're ready to flush the system. So prepare yourself by getting the fluid containers ready to pour into the system, as it contains it rather quickly once you start the activation. In order to perform the flushing, you have to start the car. You go into activations. As the system is activating, you want to pour in the fluid into the container, and this will activate the system and push debris that is generated by the system when it's being operated out and into your drain bucket. You can see right here The fluid comes out in spurts as the system is activated. This is perfectly normal. Once you have reached approximately 10 liters of fluid to the system, you want to stop the activation and turn off the car. Once the flushing is completed, simply pull out the tool and let it drain. To complete the flush, install the new ABC filter. The filter goes into the return, which is part of the cap. You have to rotate the filter holder counterclockwise. Depress the fingers on the top, which makes it come out. Ensure that the O-rings stay in the upper part of the filter housing and also in the lower part of the filter housing. Sometimes they tend to stick to the filter, so make sure you transfer them back into the housing if necessary. Insert the new filter into the housing and reinstall it into the cap. Make sure it clicks into place and is properly locked in. Now, put the filter housing back in. Make sure it registers in the bottom and you can feel the O-ring going into place, and then tighten the cap. Finish up by final adjusting the fluid level according to the dipstick. On one side of the dipstick it says motor on, which means engine on, and or on the other side it says motor aus, which means engine off. It makes a big difference if the engine is running or not running on the fluid level. Here we have the fluid that we have extracted from flushing the system, and we pumped it into a absolutely clean container. The debris in the system is being generated by the wear bands and the struts, pump elements, and debris from the O-rings and the valves entering into the system. And it's quite significant, and it's that debris at high speeds in the system coming through the valves that ruins the system over time. As you can see here, the small pieces of debris that ruins the system over time is floating in the fluid. By thoroughly flushing the system, this is now removed and keeps the system functioning without trouble for a long time. We recommend to flush the system at a minimum of every 40,000 miles in order to avoid those very high expenses of replacing components in the ABC system. This all-German auto flushing tool is a very simple solution. It's very inexpensive. It's a great money generator, and it provides a really good service to the customer. It reduces time and avoids big messes. It's available at allgermanauto.com. Click on products and you'll find it there.